Old school cake recipe. Yes, I'm taking you right back to the 70s, but minus my flares and the long collars. Anyway, how do you make this absolutely delicious school cake? It's so easy, really easy to make. What you're going to need is a baking tin or a tray, and you want to line it, and you want to make sure you've got your oven preheated at 180 degrees centigrade fan. Then the secret to a good sponge is measuring your eggs first. The eggs have to be at room temperature. So this is 3 large eggs. They were 170 grams, so that means I use 170 grams of butter, 170 grams of caster sugar and 170 grams of self-raising flour. So you can hand mix this, but it's easier in a mixer. So you're going to pop in 170 grams of the butter and 170 grams of the caster sugar, and you're going to beat it and mix it until it is light, white and fluffy. This could take a few minutes. Then what you're going to do is you're going to add 1 egg and 1/3 of the flour, and you're going to do this another 2 times. This helps get everything incorporated properly. Then what you want to do is just take a spatula and make sure you've got all the ingredients in there, because you don't want any pockets of flour and stuff in the sponge as you're baking it. Then you add in 2 tablespoons of milk and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Give it another quick mix round, but don't overmix. Then you're going to pour this into your tin, just gently level it out and coax it to the sides, and you want to cook it for around about 25 to 30 minutes until you can put a knife in or a skewer and make sure that there's no mixture on the end. Now it's easier to let the sponge cool in the tin. This also helps keep that icing contained and stops a lot of mess. Now I'm tight for time today and I don't have time to let it cool in the tin, so I've had to take it out and pop it on a wire rack to cool. To make the icing, it's 400 grams of icing sugar in a bowl, and just make sure you sieve it so that you've got no lumps. Then I add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and here's the important part. I'm adding in 80 mils of milk. Now here's the thing, different types of icing sugar vary in results. So just do the milk part very, very gradually, because otherwise you can end up with it being too runny. So what you want is to look for a very thick, like paste mixture. If you do make it too runny, just add more icing sugar. Then you're going to pour it on top of the cooled cake, and as you can see, it's just running out and over the edge here, which is absolutely fine. It will settle and it will harden very slightly, so don't be too precious about it. Now the sprinkles, this is an important part for me actually. I don't use the hundreds and thousands because they seem to disappear under the icing. I prefer proper sprinkles. And I'm also extremely generous with the sprinkles too. And now we're going to cut it up into portions. This makes around about 9 at this size. You could make them smaller, but I mean, who wants a small old school cake slice? Certainly not me. It is actually really gorgeous as a cake as well, and you can keep it in a tin. But I want it just like the school days, with lashings of custard. And my dinner ladies used to make it with pink custard. Do you remember that? Oh, it was so good. Anyway, if you want the full written recipe, you know where to go by now. It's my website, cookingwithemily.co.uk.